So, you want to go to medical college in India, is it? I'm going to tell you how to do that in just 4 steps. So, before we begin, a little bit about me. You're probably wondering who I am and who am I to tell you how to get into medical college, right? So, I am a final year MBBS student at Kasturba Medical College, Manipal, and no, that is not in Sikkim, it's in Karnataka. And I got into medical college in 2012, which was pretty great for me in my first attempt. And it was the college that I always wanted to get into. And it was pretty brilliant, and I still love it. I cannot have wished for a better college in my life. So there were a few things that I did that probably helped me get into medical college. Strong motivation, working hard, and all those things. And I've tried to organize those good practices to try and let you know and help you get into medical college as well. So all the best, and here they are. Okay, so step one, you're gonna have to decide to go to medical college, okay? It's not an easy decision to make, and before you jump the gun, I want you to take the time out, and I cannot specify how important it is to actually make this decision from inside. Basically, if you're before 10th grade, you're gonna have to decide this so that you can choose your subjects. You're gonna need physics, chemistry, and biology. Now, even if you've already crossed 10th and you've taken physics, chemistry, biology, I'm going to ask you to please take the time out and make an active decision of whether this is right for you or not, because it's a really long journey, and making the decision is half the job done, because once you've done the decision, all your efforts are going to come together. You're going to subconsciously be working harder, and it's going to make a huge difference in the way you work towards getting into medical college. So take the time out and make sure you take a decision from the inside on your own without anybody else pressurizing you to actually go to medical college. If you don't want to do it, don't do it, please. Now let's talk a bit about the factors influencing your decision. I mean, apart from the whole fact that whether you should go into the field or not, which I'll be talking about in a separate video, there are things about the type of colleges you should be looking at, the type of coaching you should be looking at, and various things that affect them. So the type of colleges you want is, I mean, depends on which state you're in, what kind of, how far you can travel, what kind of fees you can afford, which is actually a huge constraint for many of the people. I mean, private colleges have a huge fees nowadays, and government colleges are brilliant, but it's quite difficult to get into them as well. And in terms of coaching institutes, I mean, whether you choose to go part-time, full-time, or self-study, it depends on how much time you're going to have to sacrifice, because it does require a lot of sacrifice. It does require you to skip family events, skip dinners. Your friends are probably going to be going out and meeting. You're going to have to leave them behind, and make sure you do your work and make sure you are sincere in what you're doing. So it does take a lot of sacrifice and it does take a lot of hard work, but it's totally worth it. And with the next step of planning and execution, you can do it flawlessly. Okay. So step 2 is planning and execution. You have a couple of things to do here, okay? There are various options available for you right now at this point of time to look ahead and make sure that you get into medical college. So what you're going to have to do is look at the various options. You may choose to self-study. You may go for coaching, which could be either part-time, like I was doing for a while. You could even go for a full-time coaching, like many of the institutes, which I'm not going to name here, but they basically replace your 11th and 12th grade with complete coaching. And a word of warning at these, you're going to probably want to know what it is before you get into them completely. I mean, they have a huge success rate, which they advertise, and but what they don't advertise is a lot of failure rates and even a lot of cases of suicides and depression. So before you get into that, make sure you know it completely. And I would recommend going to normal school, doing your stuff properly, making sure you know your practicals well, getting a hands-on proper knowledge of what your 11th and 12th grade subjects are. People talk about different ways to study. People say that different exams you have to study differently. My argument is that the information remains the same. It's just an application of them. So your basic information that you contain, the basic information that you need to learn over your 11th and 12th is pretty much the same for all exams. And the way you apply them is different, true, but that can be learned in pretty much 1 or 2 months of just practicing the different types of question papers. You don't really need to actually sit and study differently for different exams. get a grip of your basic concepts, get an understanding of how to answer questions, and your must know things are what you must know, and after that you can improvise on that. Now, one suggestion that I would like to give you here is what I did. I did a distance learning program in my 11th and 12th, for mainly for biology. My physics and chemistry teacher were brilliant. Not that my biology wasn't, but since getting into medical college involves greater biology knowledge outside your usual school textbooks, I took a coaching thing for a distant learning program, which I did not follow very well. Classroom programs are definitely better, but extremely time consuming. So what I did was I tried to do my best at home, and then once school ended, after I gave my boards, I had 1 month till my All India Pre-Medical Test (AIPMT), during which what I did was a crash course, and this crash course I think was the key for me at least to get into medical college, because in 1 month they pretty much summarized all of 11, which is pretty crucial because 12th was fresh in my mind. I'd just given boards and everything, but 11th had kind of like settled back, and 11th has a lot of information in it as well. So this crash course refreshed all of that for me, and it was really great because it kept me at a fast pace which I could not maintain on my own. And I would definitely recommend going for these crash courses from a reputed institute like Akash and stuff. I mean, not that I'm speaking for them or anything, but they're well known. Just an example. You should go for them. You could go for them. They'll help you out quite a lot. Um, it's very, very, very essential to plan out your study, plan out your times, plan out your breaks, and make sure you execute them extremely well to the best of your ability so that you can be prepared when it comes to the step 4. Now, step 3, this is kind of a tricky one and varies from people to people, in the sense that step 3 is finding your motivation. This is extremely essential because the journey to get into medical college is probably a really long one. I mean, it's probably the longest you're going to have until you actually get into medical college, which is going to be extremely long. Yeah, so finding your motivation. Now, many people say that they want to become a doctor because they want to help others, and I really don't think that's true for about 70-80% of the people. I mean, you know how in aeroplanes they say put on your own mask before helping others? You need to put on your own mask of being able to self-sustain yourself before you can actually help others. And for an 18-year-old, I don't think helping others is the priority. So, realize that fact and make sure you find a motivation for yourself, because that's what works best. Whether it's the money, whether it's getting out of your house, whether it's getting out of the country or coming to a country, or whether it's you want to stay with your friends, whatever works for you, just find that motivation and find a way to remind yourself. Use phrases, write it on your wall, put pictures, change your background on your laptop, change your phone status, or change your phone wallpaper, whatever works for you. Get a tattoo if you want. Just find a way to keep reminding yourself of that motivation to keep you going, because you're going to need that. You're going to need that to keep up your spirits, keep up your strength, keep up the intensity with which you're studying and you're working towards your goal. So, just find that, make sure you have that at hand. And once you have both your plan and the motivation to do it, you're going to be able to execute it really well, the way you actually plan to do it. And that's going to really help you push your level to be prepared for the entrance exams which you're going to give. Now, step 4, when it comes to giving the exam, you're first going to have to apply for the exam. Do not forget to do this at any cost. Make sure you follow them on their websites. Make sure you set reminders on your phone. Make sure you look at the newspaper for their advertisements. Apply, get the sheets, make the payment in time. Please don't forget to do that. It's a really small mistake to make after you've studied a lot. So once you have applied for the exam, comes the question of how you should study for the exam, or rather how you should prepare to give the exam. Now, practicing past questions is definitely a great idea. You should do that. Grab your teachers. They're going to be able to tell you what kind of questions are asked and how to approach the different kind of questions. Now, if by any chance your paper does not have negative marking, go ahead and mark everything, okay? Because you want the maximum marks out there. And if your paper does have negative marking, skip those questions, skip the questions you have a doubt with, finish it off in time, finish off the ones you know as quickly as possible, come back to these ones, use your logic, use whatever knowledge you have, look at the options and play it smart. Okay, play it smart and give it all you have, because you got to take a risk in this situation, and you got to be able to put your best foot forward and make sure you get the maximum out of that paper. Like literally squeeze the marks out of it. While going for the paper, try to remain calm, because it's not just the information from the last 2 years. It's not just your coaching that's going to help you. It's not just what your teachers told you. It's all your life. It's the general knowledge that you have. It's the basic concepts that you formed since your childhood. Everything is going to come together and help you give those exams. So stay cool, stay calm, and do your best in giving the exams. And remember your motivation at all times. Remember your motivation so that you don't burn out, so that you keep going and that you do well in your exams and then get through. And so, yeah, that's pretty much it. A 4-step process that's probably, I hope, going to help you improve your chances of actually getting into an Indian medical school. And trust me, it's worth it. It's a great experience to have if you've decided properly to do it. If you have any doubts, any queries, any questions, let me know in the comments below. You can email me. I'll leave further details in the description box, and you can contact me anytime. So, a small insider's tip, I actually had both maths and biology, and I was planning to give engineering entrance exams as well for biotechnology. Until a day my granddad said that, why don't, if you really want something so bad, you should be sure of getting it. And don't like throw your efforts everywhere, have them focused. And he told me that if you really want it, don't give the engineering exams. And it was kind of weird, because until that point everyone had been telling me that, make sure you have a backup, make sure you have a backup. And here was my granddad saying completely opposite, and for some reason I listened to him and I did not go ahead with giving the engineering entrance exams. And I think that played a huge role in actually making sure that I got through the MBBS entrance exam. And it just goes to show the impact that making a true decision has in being able to make sure that your efforts count where they matter.